got a harmonica in this week, and the customer was concerned with the top notes not sounding very good. What the problem was with the top notes on this particular harmonica was that it was a very old Hohner with a wooden comb, and the channels are quite large compared to the more modern combs. When people are concerned about the top end notes, a couple of things that I do to try and fix this. So there's not really one one thing that I do and I can nail down and say, okay, if you try this, it's going to fix the top end, the sort of the high notes to play a lot better. I sort of try a lot of different things. One of the things that I try, that I do, is I change the shape and the volume of the chambers. To tell you what I'm talking about, this is a very old harmonica, but it's this chamber here, these chamber shapes. You compare this with a modern comb. If you look here, this is a modern comb. Can you see the size of the chambers? Oh, this is it here. Sorry, the size of the chambers here compared to up here. This has got some gunk in it, but you can see that this chamber is quite huge and this chamber is quite small. So they've sort of addressed the issue with modern combs. But when you get an old comb in, you need to change the volume of that size of the chamber. So I'm just going to show you what I do. I got this technique, or I saw this technique. I knew of the technique. Obviously things like the tape ramps, and Brendan has these power plugs. Does the same thing. It just changes the volume of these channels at the top. But this is a comb, I think, probably from Tony Danica, which he probably got it from his father, Willie Danica, back in the day. And it's waxing and using wax to build up the channels. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Wax is a common repair material that's used in repairing accordions, so it's not alien to the harmonica industry. It's probably where Tony Danica and Willie Danica sort of got this idea, probably from accordion repairs that they did. So you can buy the wax in strips. Here they are. Just going to show you. You can buy a lot of them. They're very, very cheap. I'll show you how I do that.
So the first thing I do is I get a small piece of brass. This is just a little piece of thin brass. It's about 1/2 mil thick, and I bend that up just so that I make a sort of a dam, really, for when I use when I melt the wax into the slot. It doesn't just run everywhere, but it fills up the gap. The next thing I do is I mark where the reed is on the reed plate, the amount of gap that I need to fill up. And then once I've marked that with a pencil, I then put my little dam, my little brass dam in place, and I get ready to melt the wax. To melt the wax is really, really simple. I just use a normal cigarette lighter, and it melts very, very quickly. I just hold it over the slot and I just melt the end, and it drips in. Once I've got a little bit in there to stop the movement of the little brass dam, I then level the plate up, the comb up, so that when I float the wax into the hole, it sits nice and level. I try and get enough wax in there that it sort of just bulges out the top of the slot, but this wax is really, really good for filling up the gaps. It takes about a couple of minutes really just to fill it up, and it dries pretty quickly. A couple of blows on it and the wax will be set inside the hole. The next thing I do is I just remove the little brass dam. You can see that the wax is just sitting proud of the the face of the comb, I just ease it with a little X-Acto knife just to free up the brass, and then the brass bit just pops out of the way. And then finally I just get I could use a Stanley knife here, but this is a reed setter, and I just swipe it over the top and cut the excess wax off, and that's it. That's how you wax the slot.
So just to show you what it does, there's the two little wax plugs in the end there. So this is the actual harmonica that had the issue. I haven't changed with the slide in. I've still left those exactly as they are, but this is it with the slide out with the plugs, and I'm going to push it in to see if if the plugs work. So you can hear that the first one with the slide out is a lot clearer than when you push the slide in. It's a bit of a weak sound. So hopefully that's cured the top end of this harmonica. So that's how you wax the chambers. That's them there, very simple process. If you need any of this wax, you need to get onto an accordion supplier, very, very inexpensive, and buy one and give it a go. Any problems, just give me a shout. Thanks very much.